Creativity and rest are closely linked, even when rest doesn't feel restful. If slowing down has ever made you feel anxious, this video is an invitation to explore why. I'll share 2 simple art practices along with a few lessons I learned in Arizona and Ecuador about anxiety, rest, and the body. If you find that taking rest is really hard to do, don't worry, you're not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you. It was very common when I went to this little tiny town in Ecuador. I was considering moving there, and that's actually where my daughter was born. It was just like this beautiful oasis. There was friendly people and fresh food, and the weather was beautiful. And I'm like, okay, besides the cucaracha, what kind of things, cockroaches, don't like those so much. Besides that, what's the most difficult part of living here? And the answer that people were sharing with me really surprised me. They said, slowing down, living a more tranquilo lifestyle. And I was like, you know what? That really tracks. That really tracks, because I would notice that I had to meditate like 2 or 3 hours a day just to kind of stay even keel, because there was so much bubbling up in me. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it's just like the energy of the place, because there was a lot of energy in Ecuador there. But I also noticed it when I was living in Arizona, in the Kadampa Retreat Center near Flagstaff. I was there for a little while, at least a couple of weeks, and I noticed that a lot of anxiety sure bubbles up when I have a minute to just rest. So we'll cover 2 reasons for this today. One of them is that familiarity does not equal safety. So we might be really accustomed to living a high-paced, high-stress lifestyle, and feeling calm and peaceful, content might feel boring, and we might be looking for the next thing to do. And so we're like, oh, well, maybe I'll just go clean the counter or clean the kitchen, or maybe I'll just go see if this person's available. We don't really get a chance to give ourselves the permission to rest and feel into what's unfamiliar, or what's uncertain, what's unfamiliar. The other thing is that the creative fire and rest are very similar. So the creative fire, we'll start there, is like a refiner's fire. And this is a lot of definitions, but imagine when you're making creativity, all those uncomfortable feelings that might bubble up while you're making something. It's very much like when you're purifying gold, or you're purifying precious metals. All of those uncomfortable feelings bubble up to the surface, and what we need to do is skim them off the top. So we just skim it off for gold, and we're left with a really pure substance. With creativity, when all those uncomfortable feelings bubble up, we skim it off by loving it, which is to see, hear, feel, know, and understand it. So that's just kind of the same thing that's happening with rest. It's like we have a minute to just pause, and all of those things start bubbling up. Oh boy, right? So here's a practice that we can do to start being present with those things. It's on page 1 of the Creative Alchemy guidebook, and it says, trace your breath. Let your pen stay on the page as you breathe in and out. No need to change or control anything. What lines naturally emerge? So give that a go if you'd like. Grab a pen and paper. I have crayons here today. And noticing your breath. Checking in and then just breathing in and out. See if you can trace how that feels on the page. What we're doing is we're reframing rest from we need to fully stop to how can we practice listening? So this is a practice of hearing, of listening to what kind of things are showing up. What things need to be seen, heard, felt, known, and understood. All right, so check in with your body. Notice how you're feeling. Do those shoulders feel like they can come down? How's that stomach feeling like it can maybe relax a little bit? Maybe there's a little bit more space in your hips. Maybe your feet feel like they can just ground a little bit more and land. If you want to stay with this a little bit more, try page 31, where it says, what do your feet feel like? Go as slow as you can. So if you don't have the book, don't worry about it. Draw 2 circles on your page. You can draw your little toes if you'd like, and then notice kind of on the instep, how does that instep feel? Noticing those big toes, how are they feeling? And the little toes in between. And then this outside of your feet, how are they? And then begin feeling inside of the foot. How much can you notice? Feel free to pause the video here, or we can wrap it up by talking about why this practice is so powerful. We're connecting into our feet, where when we're feeling anxious, we might want to run and move as fast as we can. The other reason it can help us ground and land back in our body. And finally, we may find it valuable to be present with anxiety long enough to see what kind of need, want, longing, or desire is underneath, so that it can be met. If you like this video, consider subscribing or sharing it with a friend. If you want to buy the book, it's in the link. And until next time, happy creating.